Hello, welcome to How to Deal with Holiday Blues. So, previously I did a panel discussion about holiday blues. And so, we wanted to have a follow up with Black women therapists. So, licensed Black women therapists giving you some tips about what to do about the holiday blues. So, the holiday blues can be just seasonal things that we go through, particularly when we have issues of loss. Let's say someone in our family has passed away. It could be issues of divorce, estrangement. It could be a lot of different things in terms of loss, and or it could be those family or friend or workplace holiday situations that just make you feel like you dread going there. Okay, so we're going to talk about those situations and some tips about how to deal with that. So I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, and then we're going to go right into the discussion. So it's so awesome to be in amidst other licensed therapists in this on this panel because usually I'm the only therapist. So Evette, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Evette Bean, and I am in the state of Missouri. I am a licensed professional counselor. I've been in the field for over 25 years now. I believe for the last 12 to 13 years, I've been specializing in trauma, specifically with children.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Evette. And Evette was going to join us on the previous panel, but then she wasn't feeling well. So I'm glad you're feeling better, Evette. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry you weren't able to join us last time. And then we have my Spelman sister, Camesha. If you could introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camesha Jones. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm the founder and executive director of Sista Afya Community Mental Wellness in Chicago. And we focus on providing mental wellness care that centers the experiences of Black women.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, both of you. So, as I mentioned before, when we think about holiday blues, it could be a range of different things. It can be issues of loss. So, someone has passed away. It could be a family, friend. So, issues of loss in relation to death. Also, can be issues of divorce or separation or estrangement. So, last week we actually talked about no contact with a parent, no contact with the mother. So, it could trigger a lot of different things and or like I talked about those very difficult holiday interactions. So can you both share with the audience, with the clients that you work with, so the Black women clients that you work with, what are some of the things that you've heard from them in relation to these issues? So we'll start with you, Evette.
I thought about this question when I was reading your questions you said beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I thought about are unique for women of color is that we have to be strong.
Yes.
So when there is loss, whether it's from a loss of a person, loss of a job, a loss of anything, we put on a front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when the holidays come, we are forced to even put that front on stronger because now you have to be happy. You have to be happy because this is the holiday season. And so I think the biggest struggle for us is maintaining that facade. Because sometimes let's say you're a mother and you don't always have everything you need for the Christmas season, right? Plus you're dealing with loss, plus you're dealing with grief, and then the expectation that we may put on ourselves that we have to be everything, or the expectation that everybody else puts on us that we have
that part too. Yeah.
And so I think it's the maintaining the facade. It is absolutely exhausting.
Yes.
Exhausting.
Yes. So your clients have talked about the exhaustion, right? Like just tired of having to be strong, having to act like everything's okay, particularly during this so-called happy time of year, right? Yes. What about you, Camesha? What have your Black women clients said to you about holiday season?
Well, for one, their struggles with family dynamics. So some of the things that you mentioned before, Dr. Kamani, in terms of having to set boundaries with family, people dealing with loss, so the reminders of that loss. And I've seen something, and I don't know if you all have encountered this as well, but a lot of people lose people around the holiday season. I can think about my own family. 3 or 4 people have passed away during Christmas, during Thanksgiving. So there is something about this time of year where I don't know if there's more incidences of death. I'm not sure about that, but that's something that people are also dealing with. financial insecurities and financial strain. So when we think
Mm-hmm.
about buying gifts or
Mm-hmm.
being able to give to others, you can be reminded of your financial situation. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing financial strain, that can also cause mental distress. And sometimes, as you were saying, Miss Evette, about putting on the facade that you have something that you necessarily may not actually have, right? Just to
Mm-hmm.
satisfy others.
Mm-hmm.
Other things can be just reflecting about the year and maybe not being satisfied with how the year went
Yes.
and feeling hopeless about the next
Ooh.
year. So
Ooh.
that's something that people, can also struggle with, is like, if you had a really hard year, like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I feel good about next year or be hopeful if I really, really struggle in the current year?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so I'm thinking also, as therapists, we're taught to that we use of ourselves, right? So this is an art. So we learn the science, but we also have to navigate sharing parts of ourselves and dealing with ways we might be triggered. So I'm just curious in terms of, for you individually, have either of you ever experienced holiday blues or these navigating these very challenging interactions during the holidays? And if so, can you share whatever you feel comfortable sharing with the audience about what was that like and how did you navigate that?
Um, yeah, every year. Dealing with it right now. It's gonna be really honest with you. Because I've dealt with loss. When Camesha was talking about loss a couple years ago, we buried my brother this time of year, right?
Mhm.
And then always miss those people who have passed on, who
Yeah.
made Christmas great,
Yes.
and they're gone to be glory, and so it's hard. So
Mhm.
every year, right now. But one of the things that I do to combat it is that I almost, for the last 20 years, I believe, I
Mhm.
always take the last 2 weeks of the year off. And
Good.
this year, I've actually taken the last 3 weeks of the year off
Yes.
because I deserve rest. I deserve to be able to reset. And if I feel like being sad, I need to be sad. But I still
Mhm.
have to be careful to not let that sadness take over. And so I plan things out. Like when I start to feel a certain way, I have a list of people that I'm going to call who are
Mhm.
going to force me to get out of the house if I feel like I need to get out of the house, who can come over at any point in time.
Mhm.
But people who I'm honest with and I talk to about what I'm going through, that's not going
Mhm.
to let me sink too low. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think every year
Yeah.
I deal with it. But I also love the holidays at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So
you
the
can
love of the
actually,
holidays and then a reminder of the grief and giving yourself permission to feel the feelings. I
Mhm.
know for me, and I'm pretty sure for you all, that sometimes our Black women clients, there's this disconnect from emotion because it's like we have to keep going, going, going. And then the other part is the thought that if we connect to our emotion, it's going to take us out,
Yep.
right? It's going to be too overwhelming. And so you're saying, it's important to connect to the emotion, recognize that this may be a painful time of year, and you factor in time. You take time, intentional time off
Mhm.
to take care of yourself, and you have a circle around you of people who check in
Absolutely.
with you and do things. So we know that's protective factors too. So thank you, Evette. And I'm so sorry for your loss of your brother.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, Evette, because you talking about the happy time of year, right? So I love Christmas music. I love it. Like I hear it and I want to dance. I want to do all these things. And I'm reminded of my grandparents who are no longer here. And that makes me so sad. And so I have to remember, okay, the positive memories of them, but the sadness of the loss of them as well. So holding both of those simultaneously. So thank you, Yvette.
Yeah.
What about you, Camesha?
I've never experienced the holiday blues, but I've experienced loss around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that's really been helpful for me is to reflect and find ways to connect with the memory of that person during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So my great aunt, she passed away last year, actually December 19th,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a major pillar in our family. And, I went to her graveside a couple of days ago, and it was, it was sad, I was tearful, but at the same time, I just remembered all of the memories and all of the good times that we had together. And I just thought about things like her laugh, or things like the food that she would make, and wanting to connect in that way.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think about really like the positive parts of those relationships, and how can I reconnect or carry on those traditions, or carry on what that person contributed to my life and the life of others as a part of the holidays, versus a disconnect.
Yeah.
Kind of like reconnecting, but in a way to acknowledge, like you said, both the sadness, but also remembering how they contributed to your life.
Yeah, and the memories keep them alive, right? So they stay alive through us, through remembering them and doing things to help us connect to them as well. So, on my YouTube channel, I talk a lot. The main thing I talk about on my YouTube channel is about Black women healing from toxic jobs, leaving and healing from toxic jobs. And because so many Black women, the vast majority of my clients, my own toxic job experience, as Black women, many of us have a history of toxic jobs. So if you think about, you're already struggling with the toxic job and then the holiday blues. Can you talk a little bit more in terms of how that interacts? And I want to talk about this too, because, Stephanie Perry interviewed me recently with Dr. Roche Brown, and Black women, again, commenting a lot about their experiences of toxic jobs. So we know it's very common. So can you all speak to what is it like for Black women who might be struggling in a toxic job, and then she's got to deal with the holiday blues and the holiday work get together that she don't want to go to, right? What is it? What has that looked like for your clients?
So I think that when I think about toxicity in the workplace, one of the things that I think that we try to separate work and the rest of our lives, and I think that is impossible to do.
True.
And I think that sometimes we spend more time at work than we do with our families. And so there needs to be some semblance of peace in our lives. And so I think when I think about toxicity in the holidays as well, it can make it worse. It's like layering bad upon bad upon bad upon bad, which is why I started the tradition of taking 2 weeks off at the end of the year, because I was not happy in the job I was previously in.
Yeah.
And I needed a Shabbat. I needed a rest. I needed to be able to reset and refocus and make new goals. And so I think that even if you're in a position where you're in a toxic job, you got to be an intentional, purposeful, living kind of person. So yes, maybe I'm not happy at my job, but trouble don't last always. I have to have hope. And so I'm setting goals, whether it's for the holidays. Like I said, I planned out my holidays already because I knew that the holiday blues was coming, right? So let's say I'm not in the job that I like. I'm updating my resume.
Getting ready.
I'm looking for other positions. I'm looking for other opportunities. I'm finding joy in other things, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that the pandemic did for me was made me recognize that my job couldn't be everything about me.
Right.
And so I started exploring other gifts and talents that I have and finding joy in them, And so I started writing books that I had been in me, but I hadn't written them, right? But I started doing it, and I started publishing them. And so I find joy there.
Yes.
As well. And so understanding that, yes, my work life has a huge part of my day. It's huge.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I cannot avoid it, but I have found funnel joy other places, set goals, and plan a Shabbat. And Shabbat is just a way of saying rest.
Okay. Several things, Evette. Okay. So the first thing you said that I love, that a job is not everything, right? No. So the importance of not defining yourself from a job, even though we may spend a lot of time with a job, but recognize, as Stephanie Perry says, a job is a means to end just for you to make money. It should not consume your life, right? And a job's not a good job if it's killing you. So that's the one thing. The other thing you talked about was options. So being clear with ourselves when a job is no longer serving us and we're not happy, and saying, okay, what are my options and how do I start looking for other things? Not just saying, oh, I got to just stay here just because. And then you said about connecting to our joy. And that's the part, Evette, that makes me so sad as a therapist. When I talk to clients, my Black women clients, and I say, what do you do for fun? And it's like crickets. They don't know. They're like, what? Like fun? I don't have time for fun. But you're talking about the importance of connecting to your joy. Now I gotta ask you this more about rest.
Yeah.
Black women and rest. And Camesha, I want to talk about this too. Black women and rest, so challenging. And we know historically, because we've been brought up that we work, right? And that we are the workhorses, we're exploited for our labor, all that plantation mentality is still happening with us now. And so when I talk to Black women about, okay, so when are you resting? What I hear is, I don't have time to rest. I got too much stuff going on. I got kids, I got a job. I don't have time to rest. What you're talking about, Evette, is revolutionary, right? Can you talk a little bit more about rest? I want to hear more about that.
You know, I am 54 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty close to retirement at this point. And one of the things that I learned early on in my career is that if I let somebody work me to death, they'll work me to death and replace me the next day.
True that.
And so when I have vacation time, if a job gives me 6 weeks vacation,
Mm-hmm.
I am taking 6 weeks vacation.
Yes.
You know, I do save up some vacation. So if I have a trip or something like that, but here's the thing that we do that's really, really terrible. Black women, women of color, period. I'm going to put that out there. This is what we do. We work, because we think that's what we're supposed to do, because we don't want to be perceived as lazy. We don't want to be perceived as unproductive.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do it. And if we don't do it, nobody going to do it. Right.
Right.
Here's the thing that I figured out, is that if I die, you're going to hire somebody else to fill my position.
True.
And so I teach young people, I mentor young people, and I teach them to take their vacation time, not so that you can take a vacation, but so you can rest.
Good.
If you got a trip to California, if you're going to Disney World, please go to Disney World, and then plan to take the next week off when you get back.
I love it.
And then take some time. Just because, you know, when you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you can't do it, take that time, right? But another thing that I do, and again, I advise young people to do this, so I hope that people are hearing me, is that I take the 1 week in June, I take 1 week in September, and I take 2 weeks in December, irregardless of anything else. Now, I'm going to Mexico in January. That was not something that I had planned, but it came up and I wanted to do it. So I'm going to do that. But that wasn't planned vacation time. This is planned vacation time, right?
Awesome.
And this is when I do what I want to do, which is like last night I stayed up to 6 o'clock in the morning watching TV. That's what I wanted to do.
It made you happy.
Yeah, it made me happy, right? And so that's what I wanted to do. And so I think that one of the things that we do is we take the time that our job offers us. That's the first thing we do. And if you have one of those jobs where they denying vacation time, you need to get in the relationship with your HR department so that you can understand the vacation policies going in. Because I've been there where they say, okay, I'm going to have to deny your vacation time. Oh, no, you don't. Because you also have said that if you have a use it or don't lose it policy, and so you're telling me if I don't take it now, that I'm going to lose it later on. No, you're not allowed to do that. So know your HR policies so that you can take your time. And again, I say plan it out. Again, if I never take a trip, I'm off 1 week in June, 1 week in September, and 2 weeks in December.
That's dope. So the part that you said, and I think it's important just for us as Black women to understand the historical context of work for us, that we have been fed the lie as Black people that we are lazy so that we have to overcompensate. So then that's why you see people not taking their vacation, coming to work sick, overworking because we're trying to challenge the lie that we are lazy. And that is a flat out lie because we know we built this country. And anywhere else in the world where there's colonization, whatever, we know that that's a lie. So we have to recognize the lie and still take that intentional time for ourselves and know the policies and advocate for ourselves. So thank you, Evette.
Absolutely.
What about you, Camesha? For you, in terms of Black women talking about jobs and the stress and rest, and I can't rest. What have you heard from your Black women clients?
Mm-hmm. Well, one, I think people deal with being penalized for taking rest. So someone may go on a vacation, they come back, and then, they're having more issues with their supervisor, more issues with their colleagues in the workplace. Also, sometimes I've encountered women who don't believe that they're deserving of rest. Even some young women that are just entering the workforce who may feel like I have to prove myself. And so I don't need to take this vacation time, right? Because I need to show that I'm this top performing, employee. So that's definitely something else that I see. But similarly to what Miss Evette, you've shared, and you shared, Dr. Kamani, is we have to find our identity outside of what we produce.
True.
Because if we make our work our full identity, and sometimes our purpose, when things go wrong, it'll totally knock us out, right?
True.
Or it'll totally shift things in our lives. So one of the things that I work with women on is how can you find who you are, your identity, your purpose outside of producing so much for someone else.
Right.
And that can sometimes be helpful for people, even going into the new year. Also, what you were saying, Miss Evette, how can you have these other areas of your life that you're pouring into so that what's going on in the workplace is not okay, right? But that it's not all that you're focused on in your life, that you have other things that, are well-rounded. And then the other thing, I had an experience this year that I was able to go on a sabbatical. And it was paid for by this foundation. And it was for women of color leaders that work in under-resourced communities. And I was able to go on a sabbatical. And so also looking for, I think, enrichment opportunities where you can do those things and take those rests, even, with your PTO or outside of your PTO, or different programs and things like that you can take advantage of for your mental health, your physical health, and your professional development. So, my experience going through that program, having people invest in my rest as a leader, it changed my life. Like, I'm showing up to work better. I'm taking care of myself, and it's helping me to make better decisions and be able to have hope about the future. So I know that was a lot, but I hope that, answers your question in terms of what I see, but also some other things.
Wait, Camesha, can I ask you about the sabbatical right
Yes.
So, because I'm like, what, a foundation paid for you to take a sabbatical? Is that what she said? A foundation paid? Wow. That's, never heard of that before. Okay. So you're saying that when you took that intentional time to rest, you came back fresher, you came back more just attuned and aligned with yourself once you take that break, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, ladies, I know Black women are watching now, and I know they're going to watch the replay, right? So I want us to shift to how can we, as therapists, as licensed therapists, what tips can we offer Black women? First, we're going to start off with just the holiday blues in general. And then I want to talk about how to deal with these uncomfortable situations with family, friends, workplace, these holiday celebrations that you dread, okay? So let's talk about the how. How can Black women, what tips can we offer Black women in these situations? So I'll start with you, Evette.
I guess the uncomfortable situations, I am a self-proclaimed introvert, and I don't want to go to no holiday parties. They're all uncomfortable to me.
Right. There's like not all of them.
There. Yeah. But there's times where I have to. But one of the things that I recognize is that, and I don't know, it's been a few years ago when I figured this out, is that I can make an appearance.
Oh.
I can make an appearance. I can literally decide that I'm going to go to this holiday party and this is how long I'm going to stay. And this is, I'm going to say, I do the same thing with my family, not my immediate family, but extended family. Sometimes it gets a little bit dramatic for me. And so I have a planned exit strategy going in. I'm not going to not go, but I'm going to plan my exit strategy.
Yes.
And so I go and I make my appearance. I mingle who I'm going to mingle with. I don't force myself to do something that is so uncomfortable. This is the thing. If it's so uncomfortable, it's causing me anxiety, I am not doing it. But if it's uncomfortable, just uncomfortable, I will make an appearance.
Okay. Well, can I just repeat that? Because you made reference to, sometimes there could be some drama in families and we just don't want to go. We just don't want to go. We're dreading it, right? And you talked about, coming up with that exit plan before you go. I used to do the same thing. So coming up with that exit strategy before you even go, making an appearance. But if it's so bad, like if your anxiety is just spiking at the thought of going, just don't go. Now, what about this, Evette? What about if you say, I'm not going to go, and then you have a family member or a friend or a colleague begging you to go?
Dr. Kamani, I serve one God. That's my answer. I serve one God. And the older I get, the more I realized this when I was younger, but the older I get, the more I'm about pleasing Him and doing those things that are pleasing to Him. And so people, they will come in and they will, and I will tell this to my clients, I'm telling it to anybody that's listening, they will come in and they will tell you how you think you should live your life. They will tell you how you think you should walk, how you think you should talk.
Yeah.
And I understand that. My mom, God rest her soul, she was a strong personality. She had a whole lot of opinions about what she thought I should do.
Right.
But she birthed me. She didn't create me. And so I'm looking back at my creator.
Say that again to the people in the back.
She birthed me. She did not create me.
Man.
I was created with a purpose. And if I am introverted and God created me this way, I've got to honor that.
Yes.
And so the anxiety, pushing myself into situations that's going to cause me to have to take a pill, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not doing that because that's not honoring my creator.
True.
That's not honoring my creator. And so, I have had situations where relatives say that you have to go and you should go. And if I absolutely cannot do it without panicking, I'm not doing it.
Okay. So setting those limits, very important. Listen to your body, extremely important, right? So what about, and Camesha, I'm going to ask you both the questions together. Okay. So Evette, what about situations where somebody is struggling with issues of loss? So grief, divorce, any type of separation, estrangement. What tips can you offer a Black woman who's watching this about those things?
That is normal. I think that's one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that we should be stronger than what we feel. And that we shouldn't be grieving or we should be over it by now. And all of those sort of things. No, who said that? It's normal. Everybody feels lost. Everybody feels sad sometimes. We have to normalize. One of the things is people of color we have to do is we have to normalize emotions. Everyone. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. God gave us everyone. So if you're angry, anger is an emotion that's valid. If you're sad, sadness is emotion that is valid. All emotions are valid. So even if you are feeling anxious and worried about something, there's a reason behind that. That's your body trying to tell you something. And so honor that. And so for me, if you are dealing with this right now, if you're going, okay, this is a bad season right now, first of all, you can't deny that it exists, because as long as you deny that it exists, you're stuck in the catch-22. You're trying not to feel something that you're feeling anyway because you're trying so hard not to feel it.
Not healthy.
You have to acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge, then that's when that intentional planning comes in. Now you recognize that in certain situations, grief is higher. So Christmas Day is coming. I know that's going to be hard. For me, I'm going to plan around what's going to help me that day, because I know that Mother's Day is going to be triggering for me. I know this. And so I don't, I mentioned this to somebody else that was interviewing me. I don't.
Glamazzini. I think it was Glamazzini, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I don't go to church on Mother's Day.
Okay.
I love church. I'm a big active part of my church, but they make a huge deal out of Mother's Day. And it is so hard for me. And so I just don't go that day.
Yes, protect yourself.
Yeah, I don't go that day. And so just those, I hope I'm making sense. It's just
absolutely.
We have to embrace our emotions, recognize that they're valid, and then plan around them.
So the first thing, pause, connect our emotions, acknowledge that you have every right to feel the emotions. Don't lie to yourself about having the emotion, feel it, and then come up with a game plan.
Yes.
So if you know that certain things are going to trigger you, you already know in advance. Generally, you know in advance that you feel a certain way at a certain time. So what kind of things you're going to do to help plan for yourself and then nurture yourself?
Yep.
Right? Okay. Thank you, Evette. Thank you. What about for you, Camesha? So for your clients or anybody's watching this live or replay, what tips can you offer them for one, dealing with those difficult situations during the holiday parties, the holiday family friendship gatherings that you dread going to, and about holiday blues when there's issues of loss?
Well, for those dreaded holiday parties and gatherings, one of the things that I would do is have a time limit. So how long am I going to be there? So, who do I want to interact with? Who do I not want to interact with? If I do have to interact with that person I don't want to interact with, what will I say? Not overthinking, but at the same time, putting those limitations that are needed. And then also if I don't want to go, to just not go. The holiday parties, I feel like at every workplace, I don't even know why they just do the holiday parties. I don't think they're done with, honestly. But there's always something uncomfortable that happens at holiday parties. Like either someone's, gets too intoxicated or there can be things around, what people give, how people are acknowledged, what people are wearing. I mean, it's just a mess. It's a mess. These holiday parties. So I say, if you really don't want to go, don't, go. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. And then just keeping a time limit and kind of planning around what your interactions are going to look like. So that's what I would say with that. With family, it can be the same thing. You can show up and be like, hey, I'm here, drop off your macaroni and cheese, your chicken, whatever you want to do. And, interact for a time that you feel comfortable and then exit. And then if you know that there's someone who triggers you, being aware of that trigger, right? I've had clients who have people who struggle with alcoholism and substance abuse, and they have to interact with them, right? Like if that situation is a trigger, knowing that, right? And how to plan to respond to it if it does, come up. Setting boundaries are good, but sometimes we're in situations where it can be hard to do that because of how people may interact, but still coming in as much as possible, knowing how far you're willing to go into interacting with someone, and also like what are just the things that you're not going to engage in, at all. So that's what I would say about the holiday parties, the family gatherings. And if you're someone who's dealing with like grief and loss during the holidays, is really getting social support. One of the things that people can do is they go into isolation. And that can sometimes be a natural response. That can be a protective response. But these are the times where I think it's important to reach out to people who love you, who care about you, and who are willing to support you as you're navigating your loss. And then the other thing I would say is reflecting on the good times that you've had with that person. As I talked about before, that has been very healing for me. I am an emotional person when it comes to experiencing loss, but just connecting with those moments and remembering, whether it's looking at photo albums, right? Or, with our phones, videos on our phone. I had the opportunity to do an oral history of my aunt who passed away. So listening back to those recordings and like, I still feel her here. Things like that can be a sense of comfort during those times. And then I would also say, lastly, if there are any self-care things that you can do, whether you may want to either go to the gym, right? Or whether it is going for walks outside if it's not too cold like Chicago, like amping up that self-care. And but yeah, amping up that self-care, right? And amping up those things that help you to care for yourself when you're in vulnerable moments are also things that can be helpful during this time.
Yes. I just thought of another question, because this is something I hear a lot from Black women, is that they dread going to particularly family events, because those family members will ask very intrusive questions. So, who you dating now? When you getting married? When you have, like, very intrusive questions that makes them feel uncomfortable. What tips can you give to Black women about that boundary when people are asking you every holiday very intrusive questions? What would you say?
I am such a smart aleck. People don't ask me intrusive questions anymore.
They've learned.
And that's what I tell people, literally. I will turn a question around on you in a hot minute. Somebody says to me, and I know this is terrible of me, Lord forgive me. Why you have any kids? Well, why you have so many? You had enough of them. I mean, and then when you reflect that back to people, honestly, they learn quickly that what they did was wrong, right? And this is really, honestly, this is something I've read about. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was about how to have difficult conversations. But one of the things that it talked about was that people don't realize how ridiculous and intrusive their questions are. And so when you use humor or sarcasm, they get it. They generally get it, right? And so I think for me, that's it. And I listen, my primary population that I work with is kids. I do work with families, but my primary population is kids. And one of the biggest traumas that they come in with me with these days, sometimes is bullying. It's bullying. Yeah. And so I teach them how to use sarcasm and wit to deal with it. And an intrusive family member, if they're not a bully, especially if they're asking you the question that they know makes you uncomfortable.
Right. The same question you ask every single family gathering.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So quick wit. Put it back on them, right? And you said how to have difficult conversations, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put that in the description.
How to have difficult conversations about race. And I've just taken it and applied the principles across the board.
Beautiful. Okay. What about for you, Camesha? What about that family member who keeps asking the same intrusive questions every holiday? What tips can you give to Black women about that?
One of the things that I recommend is speaking in generalities. So if someone asks you, who are you? Are you dating someone? I'm exploring what life can look like with or without someone. General, right? Or if someone is questioning you about, your decisions, being like, if I appreciate your recommendation, that's it, right? You acknowledge they said it, but you're like, I appreciate your recommendation.
Yes.
I appreciate your interest and your recommendations, and that's it.
Yeah, it's almost like good customer service, right? Like, I hear you, but I'm not taking it any further. It's gonna stop right here.
I really love that, Camesha. That makes me so happy. I'm gonna put that in my repertoire.
Good. And I would just say to Black women, I absolutely believe in the exit planning and get, how much time you're going to be there and all that kind of stuff. But just listen to your soul. Like, if you really don't want to go, don't make yourself go. If you know you're going to be miserable the whole time there, just reevaluate if you want to do something like that. Okay. So ladies, as we're winding down, I would love for the audience to hear about services that you offer. Evette, I heard you say books, right? I want you to share about that. Camesha, I just reposted about the group that you're doing about the seasonal affective right, in terms of seasonal issues of depression. So I want both of you to share about services, products you offer, and how Black women can contact you. So we'll start with you, Evette.
So I actually work for an agency through the University of Missouri Children's Advocacy Center. So we work with kids who are traumatized. And so I'm not available just by directly calling me for services. Usually, but I work on the training team. And so one of the things that we do is we train people on how to be good clinicians. We train people on how to do evidence-based practices. We train them on how to be good DEI providers. We're working in self-care, everything that you can think of. And right now we're actually training people to be good trainers. So we've got a whole lot of things going on my team. And so I work for the Children's Advocacy Center of Greater St. Louis. And I got to tell you, I admire people who have private practices. I don't have the business mind for that. And so that's why I always work through an agency. But I just love that there are women out there doing that. But that's not what I am right now. But I do have some things that I do. I have a YouTube channel with a very small following. What's
the name of it?
Pen of the Ready Writer Ministries. Okay. It is basically just me giving a word of encouragement. I have not been doing them lately, but I'm getting ready to restart them in January.
Okay.
And I like children's books. I've written 2. I just published one in November.
Awesome. Congratulations.
I can show you them if you give me 1 second.
Okay. Go, Evette. So I will put all of Evette's information and Camesha's information description section after this video is over.
Yeah, so she's a Black girl. This is a poem of affirmation for Black girls of all ages. As you can see, the illustrations are beautiful.
Yes.
And again, this is an affirmation poem. This is the one that was published in November. And if you can listen, this is going to bless your soul. I know I sound like I'm tooting my horn, but I know that this was God breathed. I know that it was God breathed. And it's for any woman of color at any age. I put it in book form because I do want children, little Black girls to get it. But I'm telling you, this is not just for little Black girls. Okay. So it's called She's a Black Girl. It's available on Amazon.
I love that title.
And this one is called The King's Daughter.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't she cute? This is Heaven. She's the main character.
Oh.
And this is a book about bullying. And it's a little girl who dealt with bullying from a Christian standpoint. The Bible said that she was the king's daughter, and she started to act like she was the king's daughter. And the beautiful thing about this book is that it's all rhyming from beginning to end. And there is a sequel that's coming out next year.
I love it. So how can I get these books?
Both of these books are available on Amazon.
Okay. So I love it. So I'll put that information in the description section as well. Thank you, Evette.
Welcome.
Okay, Camesha.
So with my business, we offer groups and workshops. And as Dr. Kamani was saying, I am facilitating a group called Making It Through Winter for Seasonal Depression in January. It's a 3-week group and it's virtual. There is a fee, but I will provide Dr. Kamani with the discount code for the Black Women in Toxic Jobs community. But it is for anybody, anywhere. So you do not have to be in Illinois. You can join the group. So if you're struggling with the winter blues, if you struggle through winter, this is the group for you. So I am offering that. And then we also provide individual therapy as well. So if you're someone in Illinois who is looking for individual therapy, we accept most insurance plans, and we have a nonprofit that provides free therapy and accepts Medicaid. So we pretty much almost accept everything. So if you're someone who's looking to the new year, looking to improve your mental well-being, Sista Afya Community Mental Wellness is here for you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll put all this information in the chat. And as I mentioned, Camesha is my Spelman sister, but she lives in Chicago now. I'm from Chicago, but I don't live in Chicago right now. So you in St. Louis. So I empathize with my people in the Midwest right now, right? But I also want to say something that we recently did a holiday blues part 1, and Mara's here right now. Hey, Mara, and she talked about creating a healing board. I love
I
that.
love that.
I love
Yes,
that.
Mara.
And so I just want to add that in terms of tips to helping Black women, particularly if you have issues of loss, right? Or estrangement or things like that. So creating not only the vision board, but the healing board. What can help you, or what have you identified for yourself that's important for your own healing? And that you envision that so you can manifest that, right? So thank you, Mara. I appreciate you sharing that.
You
And then,
know,
yes, go on, Yvette.
I love the ideal of a healing board, and I want to say this because I think that people need to hear that healing is a process, right?
Yes.
That you go from the point of being healed to the point of being welled, but in between time, there's pain. There's sometimes itching, there's discomfort, there's so many different things that happen before you get well. And so I love this ideal of being of a healing board because it's almost like you get to visualize that process.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. And you know that it's possible, right? So we've talked a lot today about different options and tips and all these things. And I want Black women to know that. Black women, no matter if you're in a toxic job or not, I'll talk about toxic jobs, but I don't care what kind of job you in. I just want Black women to know that we have options, because when we don't realize we have options, then we can fall into the depression, the anxiety, that helplessness, hopelessness, that worry, and that's not healthy for us. Okay, so we're here to talk about options. So I do want to read the comments from our community just to give honor to them as well. It's important to reach out to others when feeling the blues. So true. And Mara's here. Hey, Mara. Take time to rest after a busy vacation. Yes. Yes, rest is not an option, but rather required. There's a stigma around rest among African American women. So true. As an educator, it is much more work when I'm out than when I'm at work. Have learned that it is work involved either way. So take the time to rest that is needed. Yes, the work is always going to be there. It really is. Okay. I've learned to listen to my body. If it does not feel good, I will try to find out why. I love that. Okay. Every emotion is valid. So true. Holiday parties are supposed to be good family time, but unfortunately, sometimes it's filled with drama. It is so much drama. The first Christmas after my dad passed, I booked a vacation for the holiday. Yes, yes. Create different holidays, different experiences for yourself. Interesting speaking in generalities. I love that. I tend to overshare, but I think that it's a trauma response. It is, right? So we can control what narrative we want to share with people, okay? And sponge it up, right? So if they're coming at you with some type of drama tinge comment, soak it up, neutralize it. That's what Camesha was talking about. Neutralize it. Talking generalities, okay? Family members will ask why I'm not married yet and where are my kids. Girls, soak it up, okay? I had to have a quick heart-to-heart with my uncle at the last family event. They have no idea what it takes for a single person to get through gatherings. He was understanding. We already know why I'm alone. I'm so glad that you had that conversation with him and he was open. That's great. I want to follow Evette. Yay. When I was married, my in-laws used to ask when we were going to have children. So intrusive. That's so intrusive. Okay. I had to have a quick, wait, we talked about that. Okay, we did that. Let me see. Books. She's a Black girl, the king's daughter. They're ready to get it. Okay. They're ready to get it, girl. So I'm putting it in the, so before I can get to the description section, it's going to take me a minute. So you already saw the books. They're on Amazon. You can get them before I put it in the description section. Okay. What a beautiful set of co-hosts for this episode. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Hey, yes. Hey. Oh, Glamazini's here. Hey, Glamazini.
Hey, Roshni.
Hey. Okay. So I just want to share a few things before we wind down today, right? So we heard about different options. Evette has her books. Camesha has different services through her organization. She is even given a coupon code. I was like, I wasn't expecting that. A coupon code for Black women who are dealing with issues of seasonal depression, okay? Because that could be very real, particularly when you are, I would say, I just remember it more so when I was in Chicago it felt more profound than when I'm in LA. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. So look at these resources and access these resources, right? We talked to you about options, but you have to be open to receive the options as well, right? Oh, they're trying to find your YouTube channel.
I'll put a link to it.
Okay, so you better put the link to the YouTube channel. Okay, look, I'm telling you, they on it, girl. They are ready. Look at this. I checked, I haven't found it. They are ready. They're trying to get your channel. They're like,
oh my God, bless your soul.
We want to find it immediately. Okay. So while Evette is doing that, I want to also share with everybody about the masterclass coming up January 3rd and 4th. So it is the Get Your Money Right and Leave That Toxic Job financial masterclass for Black women. So again, early registration is going on right now. Get your ticket. Information is on the screen, and it will also be in the description section. Okay. So this is a collaboration with me and Dr. Roche Brown, who is a financial psychologist, and she helped me get my money right so I could resign and not only get it right, do it better. I'm doing better than I did financially there. Okay. Now, another announcement I want to make briefly, and you know what's so interesting? We all have on purple today, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. This leads to my announcement. Okay. Go see the color purple. Go see the color purple. It comes out on Christmas Day. Go see it. I've already seen the screening. I'm gonna go see it again and support it. Okay. They talk so much about healing in that movie. Now I know many of you may have seen the original movie and you're like, oh my God, it's so heavy. It's so all those things. Yeah, look at this. I love everyone has the purple on, the color of royalty. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So the color purple, this rendition incorporates music and dance. It's a lot about healing. So I'm really encouraging everyone to go see the color purple. Go see it. Okay. So it comes out Christmas Day. And even if you don't go to Christmas Day, go soon after Christmas Day to support this film. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. I'm going to see it again. Bring your tissues. Okay. There is some emotional moments, but it really talks about healing. Okay. So check out the color purple. Okay. I got this custom hat actually because of the color purple. So I got invited to a private screening through the Loveland Foundation. And I want to share with everybody about the Loveland Foundation provides free therapy vouchers for Black women. Okay. So I'll put that information in the description section as well. The Loveland Foundation. So I'm one of the Loveland Foundation therapists, and they hosted a private screening for Loveland Foundation therapists in LA. And so I was there and I saw color purple. They had a Q&A with Fantasia. It was beautiful. Okay. And if you want this hat, you get a custom hat like this from Fedora Designs. And I have a coupon code with them too. So I'll put that in the description section. It's LIFT, L-I-F-T. So Fedora Designs, LIFT is the coupon code. So if you want to get your custom design hat, it's my purple hat from the private screening. Okay. So thank you, everyone. So signing off, make sure everyone give this video a thumbs up. Evette, do you have your
Yeah, I'm not technically advantaged here. I was able to put it in the private chat, so I was able to copy the link.
Okay.
Because I'm not on YouTube right now or any of those things.
Okay, so let me add this. Let me see if I can do this. Girl, I'm not technically advanced either, but we're gonna see if we can do this. Okay. we're gonna see if we go. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, and then I see Camesha. Yes. And I see Camesha added about the group. So let me see if I can get that. Let me see. Try to get it. Okay. Okay. So it's the Making It Through Winter Seasonal Depression group. So I'm going to put the website in the chat. Girl, I'm doing a lot right now, trying to go back and forth. I'm doing it. Okay. So I'm going to put the website here. And then I'm also going to put, I'm so proud of myself. Okay, I'm also going to put the coupon code. Thank you, Camesha.
And it's sistaafya.com/services. It shows up, opens in a new tab. So you see it.
Oh, let me take this off. What the? Okay, well, let me try to do this again. Okay, do like this. Okay, I'm trying to go here. And let's try it again. Let's see. No, it doesn't, it's not going to do it right. But I'll put in the description section, everybody. Okay. So I will put the correct website information in description section, but I also want to give you the coupon code so that you'll be able to access. And you said again, this is anybody. So you don't have to live in Illinois.
Nope.
Now that's amazing. You know, it's amazing, Black women, is that when you go to therapy, your therapist has to be licensed in your state. But this is different because it's a group and it's not like that deep
It's
therapy.
not like super deep therapy.
Right. It's a support, it's a support group. Okay. So check this out. I'm gonna put this here. Hold on a second. Okay. So here is the coupon code. Okay. And for those of you who tried to register for the masterclass before, the link should be good. Okay. People had some issues before. The link should be good. Okay. So January 3rd and 4th, get your money right, leave that toxic job. Okay. So it should be good. If it's not good, then go to my website, liftinguswithclimbconsulting.com, and send me a message and I will work it out to make sure you get in that masterclass. Okay. So signing off, everybody. Again, give this video a thumbs up. Okay. It tells YouTube to suggest this video to other Black women because we want to try to help as many. I'm trying to usher in that movement, girl. I'm ushering in a movement for as many Black women to leave and heal from toxic. Come with me, girl. Come with me. I'm reaching for you. I'm reaching for all the Black women trying to leave these toxic jobs. Okay. And I want to say to my guests, I appreciate both of you. And let me tell you, this is a short turnaround time, right? I think a few days ago, I reached out to both of you about doing this part 2. So I appreciate both of you taking the time, sharing your words of wisdom with the audience. And again, thumbs up, share this video with at least 2 other Black women. Okay, if you're watching this video, share this video with at least 2 other Black women. Everyone, if I don't see you before the holidays, happy holidays. And I will see you later. Okay, bye.
Bye.